Solar Ash. I'll start with Solar Ash. It's a fast-paced action-adventure with strong platforming elements. You play as Ray, a void runner, exploring the surreal world of the Ultra Void. Apparently, just a regular void wasn't enough for the developers. Your goal: save your home planet from being sucked into this massive void. You get speed-focused platforming, exploration, and epic boss fights against colossal creatures that definitely give off Shadow of the Colossus vibes, all wrapped in a sci-fi setting. The worlds you explore are abstract landscapes filled with clouds, giant bones, and smooth hills, all painted in really vibrant colors. The art style uses minimalist textures and focuses on flowing shapes. It's genuinely beautiful, no exaggeration. Characters and enemies, from amorphous creatures to titanic bosses, look like living sketches. The animation of our heroine gliding across surfaces creates this incredible feeling of flight. Basically, it's a damn cool-looking game. Clair Obscur, Expedition 33. Next up is Clair Obscur, Expedition 33. This game looks like living watercolor art mixed with a dark fairy tale. It's a phantasmagoria of ruined cities, ethereal forests, and mechanical ruins. Every frame looks like an illustration from an old storybook. The characters, with their incredibly detailed costumes, stand in stark contrast to the creepy, almost Lovecraftian monsters. The action takes place in a world inspired by French literature and the Belle Époque. You lead Expedition 33, fighting monsters and trying to track down a mysterious painteress. Every year, she claims thousands of lives by literally painting numbers on a screen. Whatever number she paints, that's the age of the people she takes. Not literally eats them, of course. The game blends turn-based combat, similar to the Persona series, with real-time mechanics and deep storytelling. The coolest part is that its unique art style isn't just decoration, it's woven right into the story itself. It's a world where beauty and horror are intertwined, and it pulls you in from the very first scene. Cuphead. Finally, the classic, Cuphead. This is an old-school run-and-gun platformer that will absolutely kick your butt and won't offer you any lube. You play as Cuphead, or Mugman if you're playing cooperative mode, battling bosses to repay a debt to the devil himself. The whole game is inspired by 1930s cartoons. Cuphead's art style is a straight-up love letter to animation's golden age. Every single frame is hand-drawn, channeling that classic Disney energy. The characters, from Cuphead with his straw to bosses like the Cagney Carnation Flower, move with exaggerated, hyper-expressive animation. The backgrounds are gorgeous watercolor landscapes with vintage film grain. Effects like smoky gunshots or color shifts mimic old film reels, making it feel like you're playing inside a living cartoon. And yes, you can play cooperatively, like I mentioned. You might hope the bosses get easier with 2 players, like in some other games, but nope, they don't. You and your friend will just get equally frustrated together. Seriously, it's a masterpiece. Pure visual and gameplay genius. Sifu. This game is about a young guy dishing out serious hand-to-hand combat against martial artists while literally aging in real time. You play as a kung fu fighter seeking revenge for his family's murder, using this unique aging mechanic. Every time you die, you get older and stronger, well, up to a point. Once you hit your 40s, you're definitely not as strong anymore. Visually, it looks like a stylized animated film, a cool blend of minimalism and cinematic flair. Honestly, it's pretty gorgeous. But the game itself? It can seriously test your patience, especially in your first dozen hours. You won't know the moves yet, let alone what the enemies might throw at you. Bosses are tough to beat on your first try. This game absolutely demands practice. Lots of it. Gris. This one is a visual masterpiece. Gris, that's both our heroine's name and the game's title. She's a girl who's lost her voice and is drowning in grief, journeying through a surreal world to find healing. Here's the setup. Gris wakes up in a broken world where her emotions literally shape the landscapes around her. What you see on screen directly reflects how she's feeling. That's a core feature of the game. Gameplay-wise, it's minimalist platforming. You're mostly jumping, solving light puzzles, and unlocking abilities like turning into a heavy block to explore levels. It's a meditative adventure where the story unfolds without any words, just through imagery and an incredible soundtrack. The visuals? Like a watercolor dream. Each level is a living painting, flowing landscapes in pastel tones, underwater dreamscapes, forests that transform alongside our heroine's emotions. Characters and creatures, from giant birds to shadowy figures, are drawn with minimalist lines, like illustrations from a children's book. One heads up, you'll definitely want a gamepad. Some levels aren't impossible with a keyboard and mouse, but they get really awkward. Otherwise, this game is pure beauty. Oh, and it's also on mobile if you want to play it there. Hollow Knight. Okay, this next one is the awesome Hollow Knight. At least for now, the sequel, Silk Song, still hasn't come out yet. This game is an absolute masterpiece of two-dimensional art. We get dropped into Hallownest, this huge underground kingdom. It's basically a massive labyrinth of caves, forests, and ruins, all drawn in a gothic style that's surprisingly gorgeous. You play as a nameless knight who descends into this fallen kingdom to uncover the secret of its ruin and an ancient curse. You arrive in a deserted city and learn about an infection that's eating away at the minds of the insects there. Gameplay involves exploring a huge, non-linear world, platforming, and facing off against some seriously tough enemies and bosses. You upgrade yourself with charms and unlock new abilities like dashing or magical attacks. Bottom line. It's a challenging adventure with deep lore and a massive world to get lost in. And personally, I cannot wait for the sequel to finally come out. It features a different heroine and promises to expand the world even more. Just beautiful stuff. Sable. You've probably never heard of this one. It's an adventure game where you play as a girl named Sable, similar to how Gris was both the character and the game title. She's a young nomad setting out on a ritual journey across a desert world to find her life's calling. Sable leaves her tribe, gets a hover bike, and explores ancient ruins to collect masks. Each mask represents a different story or potential role she could embrace in her community. The gameplay is all about free exploration, gliding over dunes on your bike, climbing cliffs, solving simple puzzles by activating mechanisms like raising platforms, and talking to NPCs whose quests reveal the world's lore. There's zero combat, just light platforming and discovering secrets. The hoverbike controls feel great, and your stamina limits climbing, adding a tiny bit of strategy. Basically, it's a chill adventure where the journey matters more than the destination. Visually, it's minimalist cel shading, flat colors and smooth lines painting deserts, ruins, and sunsets. Really beautiful combination. No Man's Sky. No Man's Sky throws you into a mind-boggling number of planets with a vibrant, colorful universe. It's a sci-fi sandbox with vast open worlds. They're all stunning, featuring endless unique planets, from neon jungles to deserts, set against space filled with nebulae. You're just a traveler, waking up on some random planet with a broken starship. Your first order of business is fixing it by gathering resources so you can begin your journey across the stars. Gameplay mixes exploration, survival, and a bit of action, especially with the latest updates. You mine minerals with your multi-tool, craft fuel and upgrades, build bases with generators and teleporters, and fight off pirates or robotic sentinels in space or on planets. Procedural missions offer little quests, sometimes trading with aliens, scanning plants and animals, all ways to earn credits. Cooperative play for up to 4 people lets you share adventures, and expeditions add global community goals. Honestly, it's become a true handmade masterpiece over time. I'm really looking forward to their next project, hopefully they'll keep refining it. Cruelty Squad. This is an immersive first-person shooter with horror elements. The graphics? Oh man, they are eye-searing. It's a low-poly psychedelic trip with acid-bright colors. Seriously, it's like a digital nightmare straight out of the 90s. The ugly models, the garish colors, everything looks intentionally janky and distorted, like something crawled out of a terrifying early internet. Textures, NPC faces, it's all deliberately unsettling. This aggressively off-putting style reflects the absurdity of capitalism, complete with bloody pixel explosions and visual filters that mess with your perception. And yet, people in the Steam reviews absolutely love it. Clearly, they aren't playing it for the graphics. The gameplay, though, is something else. You get hired as an assassin to eliminate targets. But each mission, whether it's raiding a casino or storming a mansion, peels back layers of a world where reality is falling apart. Gameplay-wise, it's pure chaotic immersive sim chaos. You shoot bioweapons or rusty shotguns, sneak through vents, hack terminals to open doors or steal data. The levels are wide open and non-linear, packed with multiple paths. There's even a stock market mechanic where you can make money trading shares. And upgrading yourself with implants, like speed boosts or cloaking, turns every run into a wild experiment. Honestly, it's pretty darn good. Inscryption. Now, Inscryption pulls you into a card game where your life is literally on the line. You're a prisoner of the Leshy, trapped in his cabin, forced to play this deadly card game for survival. It's deck building mixed with roguelike mechanics. You build a deck from beast cards, combining abilities like poison, flight, or double strike. You sacrifice weaker cards for energy to summon stronger ones, battling enemies ranging from bears to mythical bosses. There are also logic puzzles, weighing bones, cracking safes, that break up the card play. Exploring the cabin adds thick layers of horror. The candlelit cabin with its wooden figurines creates a genuinely oppressive, claustrophobic atmosphere. The two-dimensional art cards depicting spirit animals draw inspiration from old engravings. Overall, the whole thing is deeply unsettling and hauntingly beautiful. Borderlands. Okay, so Borderlands. One of the first big looter shooters, right? The graphics? Yeah, they're something. But the real star is the loot system. It generates millions of guns, each with unique stats, crazy effects, and totally different looks. We're popping open chests, hoping for a shotgun that shoots lightning or a sniper rifle that makes enemies explode. It's like a slot machine that turns every single fight into a treasure hunt. Oh, and speaking of treasure, we're vault hunters. We're on Pandora, basically a giant junkyard planet crawling with bandits, psychos, and megacorporations all fighting over ancient alien artifacts. We pick one of 4 characters and just dive into this world, trying to figure out what the heck is going on. We do quests, like clearing out bandit camps or taking down massive bosses. We explore deserts and garbage dumps. We drive around in buggies, obviously, running over enemies and trading with NPCs. Honestly, it looks like a blast. And there are tons of games now in the series. Plus, a full-on 4th main game is coming really soon. We're all pretty hyped for that one. Atomic Heart. Atomic Heart number 2 is on the horizon too, by the way. But since it's still a little ways off, let's talk about the first game. It's got this genuinely unique world with that retrofuturistic Soviet aesthetic from the 1950s. Gameplay-wise? You probably know, it's a solid action shooter. We're exploring massive factories, creepy underground labs, swampy biomes, grabbing blueprints to craft upgrades, chatting up some wild characters, and getting into intense one-handed combat basically the second we meet those twins. Oh, and they're gonna be rocking kokoshniks in the sequel, apparently. Looks amazing. Stylistically, this game is just stunning. So yeah, no surprise it made the list. High on Life. And this is High on Life. It's set in the near future. You play as a recent high school grad, guy or gal, your choice, living a super boring life on Earth. Everything changes when an alien cartel invades and starts using humans as literal drugs, like, inhaling them for a high. We escape Earth with our sister, Lizzie, and this talking gun named Kenny, becoming bounty hunters. Our job? Take down the leaders of this cartel while traveling across the galaxy. The story's not serious at all. The dialogue is packed with dark humor and absurdity. Characters might complain about the game being buggy or rant about bad game design. Gameplay is straight-up first-person shooting, with a bit of platforming and some puzzles here and there, all in this semi-open world. The style is what really makes it stand out. Bright, colorful locations from jungles to futuristic cities, and the soundtrack perfectly matches its over-the-top vibe. The humor. Totally Rick and Morty style, meta jokes, parodies, on-point comedy. Makes sense, since it's from the same creators. Scorn. Alright, if the games so far were kinda approachable, except maybe Cruelty Squad, then Scorn. Scorn is straight up nasty. And that's a good thing. It's supposed to be. This is an atmospheric first-person horror shooter with some adventure and puzzle elements. It dumps you into this grim biopunk nightmare. We're talking a world full of grotesque creatures, organic machinery, and pure body horror. Total opposite of the last game, where that leaned on comedy, absurdity, and bright colors. Scorn is its dark twin, oppressive, terrifying, and minimalist. If High on Life is light fun with a chatty gun and sarcastic jokes, Scorn offers a meditative, deeply unsettling experience. The story unfolds purely through the environment, zero text, zero dialogue. It just throws you into this world with no explanation of what to do or why. You play as a nameless humanoid exploring nightmarish laboratories built from flesh and bone, crawling with hostile monsters. Yeah, it's pretty messed up, but fascinating. The Eternal Cylinder. Finally, gotta mention this surreal adventure with survival elements, the Eternal Cylinder. The action unfolds on this wild, vibrant alien planet. You control a herd of these adorable little trunk-nosed creatures called tribums. Their goal? Survive in this bizarre ecosystem packed with exotic life forms, all while constantly threatened by the Cylinder, a giant, rolling cylinder that crushes everything in its path. The world itself is uniquely strange, but you can make it even stranger through evolution. Not quite as intense as Scorn's, sure, but still cool. Your tribums evolve by eating flora and fauna, gaining tons of different mutations, stuff like fur for cold protection, wings, or even fire jets. The whole journey lasts about 12 hours, taking you through 4 distinct biomes, which is pretty solid. And that wraps up our look at uniquely styled games.